It's my gentle version of a TBR. Today, I am here to share my April pile of possibilities. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to another monthly pile of possibilities. If you are new here, I like to use the phrase pile of possibilities rather than TBR because a TBR sounds much more like a to-do list and a pile of possibilities just sounds like options I could possibly read should I so desire. And the mood reader in me just loves the open-endedness of that there isn't any pressure to read these books. There are just some that are calling to me at the moment, and we will see if I will read them or not when I do my monthly wrap-up. But we are here today to chat about all the books I am hoping, thinking about, possibly going to read in April. Grab yourself a cuppa and let us get into the books. First up, I do like to start with the books that I have scheduled to read for book club, buddy reads, group reads, all that good stuff. So, of course, the number one book on that pile is Coming Home by Rosamund Pilcher. I am hosting, along with Rebecca from Rebecca's Literary Wanderings, a 2-month read-along of this wonderfully chunky, fantastic, coming-of-age, family saga. This is such a wonderful book. It has been a few years since I have read it. It is the only one of Rosamund Pilcher's big novels that I have not reread, and I'm so excited to do it with all of you. So, of course, this is at the top of my reading pile for April. If you don't know anything about Coming Home, in this we follow Judith Dunbar. The novel starts in 1935 and she is going to boarding school in England and she makes friends with another young woman and she becomes very enmeshed in her family, in her friend's family. And we follow Judith throughout the lead up to World War II and through World War II and what happens to her and all the people that she meets and how her life changes. And it's just so wonderful. So if you've never read it before, I hope you'll join us for the read along. If this is the first time you're hearing of it, it's still not too late to join us. I will have the announcement video linked in the cards and in the description box below. So be sure to go and check that out for all the details about the Coming Home read along. And next up is the book that was picked for the quarterly read-along that I do with the Book Jennies tier of my Patreon. So we read a book together once a quarter, and that happens in January, April, July, and October. And for April, the Book Jennies picked for us to read The Ivy Tree by Mary Stewart. And this is another reread for me, but it has been quite a few years. More like a few decades, I think, since I've read this one, and I'm very excited to get back to it. In this, we have a young girl, Mary, and she is asked to impersonate a missing heiress. So there is an heiress to a family estate, which is in England in the sort of Roman wall country, I believe. And so this young girl, Mary, sent to impersonate this missing heiress. And we are going to follow along with the story as secrets come to light and there's going to be mystery and intrigue and the usual romantic suspense that you can expect from Mary Stewart, all with a springtime setting. Very excited to read this one. If you're interested in joining the Book Jennies, you can do so. I always have the link to my Patreon down in the description box below as well. And we would love to have you join our even cozier bookish community over there. And then finally, of the books I am for sure going to read in April is our Cozy Reader Book Club selection. And for April, we are reading Lark Rise by Flora Thompson. Now, we are only reading Lark Rise, which is the first book in the Lark Rise to Candleford trilogy. And most often you will find all three books bound together as they are in this edition I'm holding here. And Lark Rise to Candleford tells the story of Flora Thompson's life life in a sort of fictionalized version. She has created the character of Laura to play herself, and it is set in rural England in the 1880s. It is just all about what life was like during that time period in rural England. This is a bit like the English version of Little House on the Prairie, where you get to know this wide range of characters who live in sort of a small village or a couple of villages, and you follow Laura as she is sort of coming of age, and it's just wonderful. I haven't read the books, but I have watched part of the fantastic television series, and I'm going to go back and rewatch it and then finish it once I've read the books. And like I said, we are just reading book 1, which is Lark Rise, and you're welcome to, of course, read all 3 books in the trilogy. It isn't that long, all 3 of them, but we are just going to be discussing the first book at the Cozy Reader Book Club. And I did want to share my beautiful illustrated edition that I came across at the end of last year at a library book sale. I found this just gorgeous edition, and I just was so excited when I came across it. It has beautiful illustrations. Let me show you one. There is one from the book. I'm definitely going to be alternating between these 2 editions. If I need to take it on the go, I will definitely take the paperback because I want this hardcover to stay in pristine condition. But if I'm just sitting here reading in my reading room, I'm definitely going to be reading out of this beautiful book. And if you want to join us for the Cozy Reader Book Club, you are more than welcome to at any time, for any month, for however long you want. All of the information is linked down in the description box below. And now let us get into the books that truly are just possibilities for April. I have pulled, I think I have about 7 or 8 books here that I may or may not read in April, but they're just what's calling to me right now. So let us get into those. I have 3 mysteries to start us off. And first up, I have one of the few Agatha Christie mysteries that I have yet to read, which is The Labor of Hercules by Agatha Christie, of course. This is an Hercule Poirot mystery. And in this is at the end of Poirot's career. He's about to retire. And it says, but the Hercules of crime cannot resist astonishing the world with a final challenge. And from the trivial matter of Lady Millie's lost Pekingese to the blackmailer of the most powerful man in England to a Russian countess who almost blinds the great detective's reason with love, Poirot follows the lure of the seemingly unsolvable crime. And so I'm not sure if this is like actually a novel or sort of like interconnected stories. I guess I'll find out. What really prompted me to pick this one up in April is the fact that I am currently obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with the Labors of Hercule podcast, which is a podcast that follows the Poirot television series with David Suchet, which is amazing. If you are an Agatha Christie fan and you've never watched it, I highly recommend it. And they basically go through every single episode of the series, and they analyze it, they talk about it, they share their love and adoration of Poirot and David Suchet and Agatha Christie, and it's absolutely wonderful. The hosts are so charming, and it is an utter delight to listen to. And so I have been rewatching Poirot. I've seen most of the episodes, but I don't think I've seen every single one. But I went back to the beginning, and I'm watching an episode and then listening to the podcast on that episode. And it has been so much fun. I'm in season 2 currently, but it just felt like The Labors of Hercules was the right book to pick up right now while I am in the midst of a bit of a Poirot obsession at the moment. I will link the podcast in the description box if you want to check it out. If you're a Poirot fan, you definitely need to listen to it. It's so much fun. But looking forward to reading another Poirot. I think I only have this one and Curtain left to read, and then I'm done with all the Poirots, I believe. Maybe I have one more short story collection, but of the novels, this is it. So I will be a Poirot completionist very, very soon. Very excited. And then my next mystery is a series I've been talking about wanting to reread from the beginning because I have just kind of willy-nilly read this series over the years and completely out of order with no rhyme or reason to it. Mostly because it used to be really hard to figure out the order of series if you weren't following it as it was being published. So if it had already been published and you were trying to figure out which books came next in the series, if I could ask one thing of publishers, list the books in a series in series order inside the book. I don't know why that's so difficult. But they're never listed in series order for some reason. And it used to be so frustrating and difficult to figure out the order of things. I digress. The series that I am restarting is the Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun, and the first book is The Cat Who Could Read Backwards, excuse me. And in this, we are meeting Jim Quillerin for the first time. He is a reporter, a journalist, and he has an assignment to cover the art beat for the Daily Fluxion, and it leads him down a path to murder. There's a stabbing in an art gallery, vandalized paintings, a fatal fall from a scaffolding. This is not at all what Quillerin expects when he turns his reportorial talents. Ooh, that's a word. Reportorial talents to art. But now Quillerin and his newly found partner Coco, the brilliant Siamese, are back in their element, sniffing out clues and confounding criminals intent on mayhem and murder. So very much looking forward to spending some time with Jim Quillerin and Coco and the Cat Who mystery series. And then the final mystery that I have in this pile is probably the #1 book that I want to read this spring. This is going to happen no matter what. I'm reading this book. I'm saying that right now. And that book is The Tale of Holly Howe by Susan Wittig Albert. This is book 2 in the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. I love this cover. It just says spring to me every time I look at it. And in this one, we're following the local shepherd, Ben Hornby. And Ben has been having a lot of trouble the past year. His barn burnt down and his cows died. And then Beatrix Potter finds Ben himself dead in the meadow and suspects foul play. So we're going to follow along as she and also her furry friends that live with her also try to help her solve this crime. And so very much looking forward to this. I loved the first book in the series and I want to read them all. Can't wait to get to this one in April. And then next up is a book that I literally just pulled off my shelf right before I started filming this video because my lovely subscriber and Book Jenny's member, Megan, mentioned this book in an Instagram post I put up recently. And she said she's reading it and she thought that I might really enjoy it because it's set mostly in California. And it's a book that is by an author I love. It's part of a series I absolutely love, and I don't think I read this one as a child, and that is Movie Shoes by Noel Streatfeild. And I found this lovely vintage edition. I think I got this again at a library book sale. I think that's where I found this. And anyway, so apparently this is all about the making of a movie version of The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And so we have that taking place, which also very springy, right? And then, of course, it is set in Hollywood, which isn't at all near where I live in California. I live in Northern California, but it is set in California. I do know Southern California to a degree, and so it's always fun to read about the state that I live in, and I had no idea that Noel Streatfeild set a book in California. So I am really, really excited about this and looking forward to it. Thank you, Megan, so much for mentioning this to me. So I was thrilled that I had it on my shelf already. And yes, so looking forward to spending some time in the shoes world with Movie Shoes. And then next up is a book that is about gardening. And because spring just feels like the time when everybody gets out in their garden again. Not really me, because I don't have a green thumb. I wish that I did. And I love gardens and I love nature, but Alas, to my mom's great chagrin, I did not get her green thumb. She has a beautiful garden, but I'm going to read a novel of the garden to at least get myself in a sort of springtime gardening mood, and that book is Old Herbaceous by Reginald Arkell. And this says, Old Herbaceous is a classic British novel of the garden with a title character as outsized and unforgettable as P.G. Woodhouse's immortal butler Jeeves. Okay, well, just right off the bat, I'm completely here for that. Born at the dusk of the Victorian era, Bert Pinnegar, an awkward orphan child with one leg a tad longer than the other, rises from inauspicious schoolboy days spent picking wildflowers and dodging angry farmers to become the legendary head gardener Old Herbaceous, the most esteemed flower show judge in the county and a famed horticultural wizard capable of producing dazzling April strawberries from the greenhouse and the exact morning glories his lady spies on the French Riviera, so blue it positively hurts. Sprinkled with nuggets of gardening wisdom, Old Herbaceous is a witty comic portrait of the most archetypal and crotchety head gardener ever to plant a row of bulbs at a British country house. That just sounds so fun. Love the comparison to P.G. Woodhouse. P.G. Woodhouse, I think, is great to read in the spring as well. I mean, any time is a good time for P.G. Woodhouse, but I am very much looking forward to giving Old Herbaceous a read. Next up, I recently joined a group on Instagram who are reading D.E. Stevenson books every month, and it is called Bunkle and Beyond. And for April, we are going to be reading The Musgraves. And let's see, for this it says, following the death of her beloved husband, Esther believes she will never be happy again, but soon her natural buoyancy and the problems and adventures of her three daughters, difficult unmarried Delia, cheerful and practical Margaret, and young Kate, just out of school, bring her pleasure and purpose anew. The local dramatic club's troubled new production, the arrival of an attractive widow with a hint of scandal about her, the return of Esther's long-estranged stepson, and Kate's perilous rendezvous with a young ne'er-do-well, whom Stevenson fans will recognize from her earlier bestseller, The Tall Stranger, all provide drama, laughter, and joy to the reader as well as to Esther herself. So this was first published in 1960, and it's set in the Cotswolds. Well, that sounds delightful. Though I haven't read The Tall Stranger. I'm wondering if I should read that first. If anyone has read this one and The Tall Stranger, please let me know if I should read The Tall Stranger first, because I definitely think I can squeeze both of them in April. Always in the mood for D.E. Stevenson, and this sounds lovely. It sounds very much along the same lines as Anna and Her Daughters, which I absolutely loved. That is a fantastic D.E. Stevenson novel, and we followed, of course, Anna, and she also has three daughters, I believe, so this sounds a little bit similar to that. And yes, always in the mood for, as I said, more D.E. Stevenson. And then every month I have a few categories of books that I want to make sure I have on my pile of possibilities every month. And one of those is a Persephone book. And so for April, I have chosen Mariana by Monica Dickens. And this sounds so wonderful. And this is one of the first Persephone books that I purchased, and I'm really excited to read it. It says, Mariana describes a young girl's growth toward maturity in the 1930s. We see Mary at school in Kensington and on holiday in Somerset, her love for her cousin Dennis, her attempt to go to drama school. Ooh, drama production seems to figure into a number of the books that I've picked for April. I'm not mad about that. Her year in Paris, learning dressmaking and getting engaged to the wrong man, her romance with Sam. Like Dusty Answers, I Capture the Castle, and The Pursuit of Love, this is a novel about a girl encountering life and love, which is also funny, readable, and perceptive, and a marvelous description of a certain kind of English life at a certain moment in time. I am 100% here for this. Has anyone read this? Did you love it? It sounds so good. I don't know the book Dusty Answer. Does anyone know that book? I guess it's maybe like a coming of age story. But I, of course, love I Capture the Castle, and I also really love The Pursuit of Love, and comparisons to those two have sold me 100% on this book. Plus, look at this cover. Isn't it just gorgeous? So excited to have this on my pile of possibilities. Very much looking forward to it. And finally, I have a nonfiction book that is actually a reread for me, but I haven't read it in a while, and I'm really looking forward to just dipping in and out of it in April. And that is Living a Beautiful Life by Alexandra Stoddard. I talked about this in a recent video, and of course, then it just got me in the mood to read it again. And I think spring is a perfect time to read this book. It has 500 ways to add elegance, order, beauty, and joy to every day of your life. And this really is just about finding beauty in the small things and in making your home and your day-to-day life just a lovely place to be in. And I very much am in the mood and in the need of that right now. And I'm excited to get some ideas to just kind of reinvigorate my love for the small things in life. And as I mentioned, for every month, I have 5 categories of books that I want to be sure to add at least one of those onto my pile of possibilities for the month. And the first category is a mystery. So of course I have 3 different ones. So The Labors of Hercules. I also have the Cat Who book. I also have the Tale of Holly Howe. So any of those will qualify for a mystery if I read one of those in April. My next category is a classic, and Lark Rise to Candleford, or Lark Rise, which we're reading for the Cozy Reader Book Club, qualifies as a classic. I think I have a few things in here that could qualify as classic reads, but this one for sure will. And then, of course, I want to read a Dean Street Press book. So I have The Musgraves by D.E. Stevenson, and also a Persephone book, which I just talked about, Mariana by Monica Dickens. And then I want to make sure I have a comfort read on my list. And many of these could qualify as a comfort read, from Coming Home by Rosamund Pilcher to The Ivy Tree by Mary Stewart to The Tale of Holly Howe by Susan Wittig Albert. I think any of those will be comforting reads for me in April. So I have made sure that all of my 5 categories are on my pile of possibilities, and we'll see what I get to when I do my wrap up at the end of the month. That will do it for this pile of possibilities video. I would love to chat with you in the comments. What are you planning to read for April, if anything? Are you joining us for the Coming Home read along? Is there anything that's in my pile of possibilities that you are now interested in maybe giving a read to as well? Let us chat all things April reading down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything that you'd like to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know that you were here, because we are supposed to be getting some rain here, some April showers here in California. Let's fill the comments with raindrops, umbrellas, rainbows, all things rain and water related. So leave those emojis down below. I love seeing those and knowing that you were here, and they really do help my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could give it a like, and also a hype if you're on the YouTube mobile app. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more piles of possibilities, more book hauls, book recommendations, reading vlogs, all that good stuff, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join my Cozy Bookish community. As always, I will be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye. And we're out. I should say that at the end of every video. And we're out. Like I'm some fancy TV program. I'm not.